Good afternoon. I'm Jerry Harrell, and my first presentation for our environmental management course is on the Cape Fear River Basin and Estuary. Here's an outline for the presentation. The Cape Fear River has and must continue to be one of North Carolina's most valuable resources. Currently, it faces multiple significant challenges. Most of them are directly related to a common problem that many valuable natural resources face: the balancing of economic prosperity and the preservation of environmental resource. The specific resource I have selected is the lower Cape Fear River Basin and Estuary located near Wilmington and Southport, North Carolina. As depicted on the left side, Brunswick and New Hanover are two of the fastest growing counties in North Carolina. The same area is also home to one of the greatest densities of biodiversity in the state, with multiple threatened and endangered species utilizing it. This slide on the geography of the area gives you some perspective on the location and scale of the Cape Fear River, its basin, and the estuary. The 32,000-acre estuary at the end of the Cape Fear is not only critical habitat for the endangered and threatened flora and fauna, but it is essential in providing an ecological buffer for runoff and helping to mitigate the effects of heavy storms. A great article in the Southeastern Geographer by Douglas Gamble on Wilmington and the Cape Fear region, published in 2015, provides a concise and informative history of this area prior to the arrival of European explorers up until present times. A few highlights are that the region is known to have been occupied by Native American tribes as far back as the early 1500s and likely much earlier, and that the 1520s represented the beginning of a 200-year period of European attempts to explore and colonize the region, and the Spanish first called it the Rio Jordan in 1526. The person most frequently attributed with the European naming of the Cape Fear region is William Hilton, who was leading a group of Puritans from New England up the river in 1662 and coined the name because of the fear of wrecking his boats on what is now known as Frying Pan Shoals. From 1730 to 1900, Wilmington's primary role was a regional shipping port, and in 1772, North Carolina exported more than 177,000 barrels of tar, pitch, and turpentine from local pine forests to the British Isles. This represented 63% of all exports from North America at the time. Due to the Revolutionary War and broken ties with England, Wilmington fell on hard times until the 1830s, when rail lines connected the port city to the agricultural production of the interior of North Carolina, and by 1860 the city was a major rail center and port. Wilmington was also the last Confederate port to fall in the Civil War and was important to blockade runners providing supplies to the South. But after the Civil War, like much of the South, Wilmington struggled and was not much more than a fledgling resort town. From the 1900s to 1917, Wilmington's primary focus was on local business and manufacturing just in the Cape Fear region. But between 1970 and 1980, North Carolina as a whole experienced net immigration, with its population growing faster than the nation as a whole. And growth also occurred in Wilmington in this period and continues today due to revitalized state port and a direct highway connection to the growing economy of an interior North Carolina. Other residents of the lower Cape Fear River Basin and estuary that have not been as happy with the historic growth in the area are numerous endangered and threatened species. Some of the most prominent, studied, and highly monitored are the American alligator, multiple species of mollusk, the short-nosed sturgeon, and multiple species of sea turtle. As previously mentioned, the Cape Fear Rivers and its basin and estuary face multiple environmental challenges: growing population centers, need for fresh water, fertilizer and animal waste runoff, and contamination. The policy I have selected for my adaptive management project in the Army Corps of Engineers reversal of a decades-long policy to only dredge during a specific winter month window. A federal lawsuit was filed last August against the Army Corps of Engineers, seeking injunctive relief and requesting a judge vacate the Corps' environmental assessment that led to its decision to reverse its policy. This policy reversal has already demonstrated extensive negative impacts on multiple endangered species within the ecosystem. The lawsuit is the nexus of the ongoing struggle of people wanting to develop highly desirable areas for economic reasons and the challenge to protect what makes those resources desirable. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to more presentations in the future.